Well, that video is going very well until you decided to put in the final dig against pragmatists. You know, I agree 100% with most of what you said, that that winning an argument is not the same as winning a shouting contest. And unfortunately, a lot of media has degenerated into shouting contests, especially Fox News. Conservatives in particular are extremely likely to engage in shouting contests. It's because there's a lot of information they just don't want to hear. You look at Tea Partiers and you know the way they ran the town halls and everything else. It's clear to me that conservatives would rather have a shouting contest than have an argument. It's because there's simply stuff they don't want to hear. There's simply stuff they don't want to admit. And there's a lot of denial going on. Now, pragmatists are interested in the truth, but you know, truth is something that's a lot trickier than what conservatives would imagine to pin down. Okay, all our experience is subjective. We can develop methods for arriving at the truth, for reaching some consensus about the truth. Science has done this to a very large extent. The scientific method is a very good way of arriving at consensus with others about what external reality is, what the truth is about external reality, and expressed in math and everything else. It's a very good discipline that's applied for understanding external reality and the truth about external reality. Okay, so the idea that arriving at truth requires discipline, right? It's not something that's just an argument. Okay, an argument is only one kind of discipline, but there's more discipline involved. There's a lot more discipline involved. I find that, and a lot of pragmatists find that people have belief systems that are not necessarily evolved towards arriving at the truth. That to a large extent there is value in the belief system that's not related to its truth value. That for the most part, for them it's true enough and it seems to work, but more importantly it provides some sort of social cohesion for their social networks and their social organizations, that they feel as though they belong to some network of peers, okay, that their social organizations accept them and value them, and that they get a lot of moral support from their social organizations. This is particularly true of religion and churches. It's also true of some political parties, and you know, I think a very good term that was coined by Richard Dawkins for thinking about these sorts of things is the term meme. And a meme is an idea that sort of has a life of its own, and it develops these social organizations that propagate it and defend it. Okay, and it's not necessarily the truth. There is value to the belief system, irregardless of whether or not it's true. And there's certainly a lot of social organizations that bear out that fact, that there's a sense of community and helping each other and a sense of us versus them that's these social organizations provide. So, and that's the thing to remember when you're arguing against people, is sometimes they're not interested in the truth. And sometimes the best you can do is to agree to disagree because they are unwilling to allow themselves to see the truth, because to see the truth would be to alienate themselves from their social networks. So, and that's not easy for anyone to do, right? There's human behavior to be taken into account here. So I don't know to what extent it's true in me. I'm sure there's some bit of it in me. I think there's some bit of that in everyone. I like to think of myself as someone who's willing to accept the truth when presented to him, and I think I do a pretty good job of doing that. But you know, I'm not going to claim that I'm perfect in that regard. I'm sure I've got some closely held beliefs that that enable me to get along with the people in my life. All right, so anyways, that's all I'm going to say. Pragmatism. We are interested in the truth, but it requires a discipline for getting there. And there's so many other things that shape our belief systems that we value that preclude admitting the truth. Right? So it's a difficult journey. It's not easy, and and I agree that winning a shouting match is not the same as winning an argument. But I think arguments, by their very nature, are very difficult and require a discipline, a framework. And I think science is a very good example of that. But in other realms where, let's say, the evidence is not as compelling, the discipline is a lot harder to come by. So, and without that discipline, there are other factors that become much more significant, namely peer pressure. So anyways, that's all I'm going to say for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.